Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with a run analysis of the young and talented Miss Blaire M. This is a SwimBikeRun Sports production. I'm Coach Mike Finn. Miss Blaire has aspirations of completing 4 triathlons in the year of 2016, as well as a MS 150. It's a 170-mile bike ride or so. That'll be done earlier in the year. So today we're going to take a look at the standard angles we're looking for proper run mechanics. We're going to try and decrease your likelihood of injury, increase your efficiency. Let's jump right on into it. So first and foremost, as we've done in all the rest of the videos, back extension of the leg. We want to see how far behind your body your thigh goes from the vertical. We're going to pick on the right leg because it's the closest. So we're going to find out exactly how far back do you kick that sucker. Right there. All right, so let's see, what color are we going to use for Blaire? We'll go with, let's go with white. She's got black pants on. So from the vertical, we take the hip, we're going to go straight down, and then we want to follow through the femur. We're at 22 degrees. Okay. The angles that we're referencing are from the USAT Level 1 coaching manual. The back extension we want greater than 20 degrees. So Blaire, after getting to have a little conversation with you, Blaire has never been taught how to run. She simply puts on a pair of shoes and goes and runs, and there's nothing wrong with that. So everything, Blaire, you do well. I want you to keep in mind that you're doing that well. The things you don't do well, as we fix those, I want you to continue to focus on doing these things that you do properly, and you continue to do them properly. It's easy to lose sight of doing the good things well if you don't even know you're doing them. So we want greater than 20 degrees, so we need flexibility of the quads, we need strong hamstrings, as well as a tight core to maintain a proper back extension of the thigh through the stride. This is very rarely a problem for many people, as without any other natural sort of thought process, we simply let the body go forward, let the leg swing back, and we just let momentum take it where it lands. So we look pretty good here. Make sure you keep that in mind. So flexibility quads, keep the hammy strong. We're going to move on to the forward lean, which doesn't seem to be too much of a concern as far as you are concerned, Miss Blaire. So we're going to try and find your most forward point, which is usually right there. So forward lean is how far in front of your hips is your head, basically, and we do that using the ear off of the hip. We're going to go straight up. That's good. Go through the ear ball, and we want this to be greater than 6 degrees. And you're right about there. Just make sure you're not standing too tall. That causes inefficiencies and really sends the forces of your impact, each step you take up through the head, and you'll get a runner's headache for used to keep in that position for too long. But nice forward lean, don't want to be hunched over, don't want round shoulders, but we do want to make sure that we are maintaining a forward balance. So once again, looks good. Keep that in mind as we go forward. All right, here comes my favorite, knee drive. And Miss Blaire, we are really going to pick on you for this one. Knee drive is how far do you pick your knee up, and that's your maximum right there in the right knee. So your knee lift from vertical, we're checking how well your hip flexors are flexing. So we're going to go from our vertical again, straight down, and we're going to go through the femur, and we are at 32 degrees. So we were about minute, I think 6 or 7 of a 9.5-minute run. I asked you to run at about a pace you would consider running for an hour, and you seemed pretty comfortable. So this is probably pretty indicative of how you're going to be running through most of your your strides here. So we want the knee drive to be greater than 45 degrees, which, let's see if I can draw a second one here. That's going to be an extra 15 degrees up. We'll do exact math. There we go. So we want your knee to be at or above that second line there. It doesn't seem like a lot, and really in space and time, it's only about 2.5 inches. However, that 2.5 inches in both legs every step, it's a lot of increased lift that we have to put into your leg. It's going to cause incredible fatigue in the hip flexors, as well as we're going to have to make sure your hamstrings have an increased flexibility. So while we needed the hamstring strength and quad flexibility in the back extension, it's the exact opposite for the knee drive. So we need strong quads and flexible hamstrings. So we're going to try and incorporate some leg exercises into your training program to ensure that we are addressing, not only addressing that we're doing the things properly, but that we address you are able to do them injury-free and with as little learning curve as possible. So your knee drive really does need to be worked on. It's one of the most important things to increase stride length and increase stride rate. Let's see if we can't go a little bit further. Very consistent. So if we can just get you to very consistently do what we need, you'll be right on your way. Yeah, it's about the same. We're going to go straight down. Yeah, and your hip point was a little off than the last one. It's about the exact same. So knee drive. We can focus on exercises to do to increase hip flexor strength and hamstring flexibility and so forth, but we do need you to be understanding that you do not pick your knees up high enough. When you do start practicing this, it's going to feel awkward. You're going to feel like you're marching, like you're high stepping, and that's because you are. Compared to what you have done your whole life, you will be high stepping. This is something you're going to have to get used to, as well as it's going to greatly increase your speed, and over time it's going to increase your efficiency. So let's take a look at your knee compression. This one, as I was watching you run, was something I was really interested in because I couldn't really tell with the tights that you were wearing just while I was watching you. So really, I want to slow this down and see what we're dealing with here. So for knee extension, we want to see exactly how far straight do you get your knee. That is a pretty straight knee there. This may be, yeah, you almost have a completely straight knee when you step to the ground. We want this to be less than 165 degrees, so we need more knee bend. Now, this angle, you don't have to put a lot of thought into as much as you do your knee drive, because if you pick up your knee higher, it's going to cause your lower leg to be more flexed through your stride, so your knee extension angle will by default get smaller. So this is how, real life example, how the kinetic chain of the running gait is all connected. Let's take a look at your other leg. I don't even think I need to draw the line here. Look at that. That's a pretty much straight leg. That is what we are going to be focusing on. Your knee drive, your knee extension. So your knee compression, let's see what that does to your knee compression. Your knee compression is how far after your knee is completely straight do you let your knee bend. And we're going to see maximum bend, which is right about there. That's what we're going to say that is. So from here to your knee, that's not your knee, here to your knee, knee to ground. That's 137 degrees. Now, I'm going to give you 177 degrees on that knee extension for math here. That gives you a knee compression of 40 degrees. What that means is you are spending a lot of energy catching your body on the way down and fighting off gravity, because as your both feet are in the air, you're being pulled down by gravity, so you got to stop yourself from falling to the ground, and we use our knees to do that. We want your knee compression angle to be less than 25 degrees. Now, 137 degrees at the bottom is pretty good. That's not a concern. The concern is how far up do you kick your knee, and how straight do you make your leg as you impact the ground. So if we can get your knee extension to, say, be 157 degrees, and that's increasing your knee drive to 45 degrees, we increase your knee drive, then the rest of these all fall right into place. So as of right now, you are putting too much stress on your joints. You're putting too much effort into your vertical up and down motion as opposed to your horizontal left to right motion. We're trying to run from A to B, and we want to do that as quickly as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to straight line. As soon as you go up and down to left and right, we start fighting forces that are outside our objective. So we really do want to focus first and foremost on your knee drive, and these other angles I believe will see improvement by result. So we're going to work on our hip flexor strength, our quad and hamstring flexibility and strength, and we're going to see what happens as we start to pick our knee up a little bit higher, how this all plays out for the remaining stride. So the last angle we're going to look at before I make this video too long is your elbow angle, one of my favorite angles. I'll speed this back up and get it normal. So take a look at your arms. One thing to really note here is your left arm is moving, your right arm is not. And that's probably because you're holding your phone. Miss Blaire loves to run with music. She will go stir crazy if she does not. However, we are going to have a couple trial runs and practice without the music. Because when you get into big races, they're not going to let you wear your music. You can still get away with it, but you're flirting with danger. As well as you should be able to do exercise without any excuses like, oh no, I forgot my phone, I can't run today, as she's checking her phone. So that's not going to be a good angle. So let's take a look here. We want this to be less than 90 degrees for the physics reasons of our joints. At exactly 90, your elbow is the strongest, so we want it, which means it's using the most energy. So we want it to be up out of 90 degrees. You're pretty consistent. You almost keep it at 90 the whole time. Let's see here. Keep it red. It's not really fair. There we go. That's good. Nothing wrong there. The best drill I found for this, you want to know what it's like to run with close arms. Stick your thumbs in your armpit and run a quarter mile like that. That's of course a gross over-exaggeration, but I'll give you a good idea of what it means to keep your hands close to your body. So that way we're not fighting any outside vectors pulling your body one way or the other. As again, we're just trying to go forward. So back extension, forward lean, knee drive, knee extension, knee compression, and your elbow angle. Blaire, overall, we have some work to do, but nothing outside, I think, your ability. I'm looking forward to the next video. We're going to take a look at your backside view for see how your hips and knees interact with your foot strike on the ground. So once again, Coach Mike Finn. This is SwimBikeRun Sports. This is video 1 of 4 for Miss Blaire. We're going to have 4 videos to look at this, so on to the next video.